Well, it's official. The after effects of Sony buying out Crunchyroll are now going into play. There's been a lot of speculation on exactly how things would go going forward, having both Crunchyroll and Funimation under the same tent, and really what it means for the future of both of them. And it seems like we now have the answer. Crunchyroll has decided to announce today that yes, everything is moving to Crunchyroll. So if you're interested in this news bit, definitely stay tuned. The official headline is Funimation content moving to Crunchyroll for world's largest anime library. We're all excited, right? Woohoo! It depends on who you ask, I guess. They say, huge news, anime just powered up. Funimation, which serves millions of anime fans over 52 countries and 10 languages, will be unifying under Crunchyroll brand. This move will include Funimation's subsidiary, Wakanim. I've never heard of that before. Wakanim, I guess. As well as Crunchyroll's VRV to create one subscription service for our anime fans worldwide. Now, that was an assumption by me that was going to be the case with VRV. Well, my initial response was that they were all going to become VRV, so that just one brand. But being that not many people outside of certain, groups don't even know what VRV is, whilst Crunchyroll has a lot more awareness for their brand. I think when we initially had this whole buyout conversation going on, my prediction was that it was going to be Crunchyroll, that in the end, everything was going to become Crunchyroll. Just because while Funimation has like a long-standing relationship with a lot of anime fans, core anime fans, I think for the broader audience, outside of things like, Dragon Ball and One Piece, most people know the name of Crunchyroll, so it kind of seemed like it made sense to me. It continues, this means all your anime, all on one platform. Starting today, tons of shows and movies from Funimation and Wakanim, I'm going to mess up that name every single time I read it because it just seems weird for me. I don't know, my brain breaks. Will begin arriving on Crunchyroll, so you'll get more dubs, more subs, more everything. I don't necessarily think that's a true statement. They're still going to make the same amount of everything. It's just going to be in one location. Doesn't mean you get more of it, but I don't know. Maybe they think they're going to be more efficient going forward. But Crunchyroll people, definitely. That includes titles available now, like My Hero Academia, Tokyo Ghoul, Yu Yu Hakusho. That's a very random choice there. Alongside favorites like Cowboy Bebop and Mushoku Tensei. I'm happy they actually point that out. All under one subscription. Check out the list of new arrivals on Crunchyroll with more to come. This also means that new series in the upcoming spring season, the biggest on record, stay tuned, and beyond will only stream on Crunchyroll. That's the biggest and most important thing I think you need to note in this entire thing. Starting spring, Crunchyroll only, not Funimation. So I think that's the biggest plus to this whole situation, and this is something that we were kind of hoping for when this buyout happened, was why do we still have two subs? Now, originally I knew that was all going to come to Crunchyroll. The big question mark was, does this mean the sub cost on Crunchyroll is going to go up? Because you technically have two brands coming into one location, and I really didn't think that they were going to merge them at all anytime soon because they're basically able to double dip right now. They have Crunchyroll subs and they have Funimation subs, so why would they want to merge it? But if they do merge it, they don't think they're going to keep the sub cost as it is. I think over time we're probably going to see that sub cost come up, but that's just my assumption. It's not as if they're saying that right now. Moving forward, Funimation will only add new episodes of continuing series, which means Funimation users will want to move to Crunchyroll account as soon as possible. That's why now, as a welcome to the new Crunchyroll family, all these other services will get a special deal for 60 days of Crunchyroll Premium free. Over the next few days, qualified Funimation, Wakanim, I hate that name. And VRV, I'm glad they're rebranding that one because I hate that name for some reason. And VRV subscriptions will receive an email with a unique link to redeem, which I think is really nice. I think the idea of giving everybody a free 60 days, because again, like I said before, you're not seeing anything in the current season over there. So I don't really think anybody should be jumping ship quite yet. They should probably wait till spring, if anything, if they have both. Just because I'm not seeing yet anything in the winter season that was exclusive to Funimation over at Crunchyroll right now. Namely, like the Genius's Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt. So at least you'll get 60 days to kind of still work both of them and then kind of ease into the new season. They continue with an announcement this big. We know there's bound to be questions. They have a FAQ available, so definitely check out their website. Both the Funimation website, if you go to the main page, they have a link that goes to a huge FAQ, which I'll get into some of that information here, so don't worry. It continues, as Crunchyroll and Funimation enter a new era together, we couldn't be more excited to bring together a vibrant community of anime fans, creators, and artists Thank you for taking anime to the next level with us. As I noted, they do have a FAQ available on the Funimation website. Some additional information in there that people need to be aware of is that they have no plans currently to change the Funimation Shop itself, so you can still buy there, you can still get your orders, you can still, issue refunds if you need to. Everything in that area is still working, and so nothing that you have currently is going to be affected by this. Even pre-orders and stuff aren't going to be necessarily affected quite yet. I almost have a feeling that they're just going to leave the shop there, because I think transferring something like that over to a different website is going to be way too difficult, plus kind of connecting orders to an account on Crunchyroll can really lead to some issues, legal issues, I think, but I'll leave that up to them to decide. I'm not a lawyer. And there, additionally, they have a note about, what if I have both? Should I just cancel one of them? They basically note that, yes, they kind of recommend you, keeping that, and you're welcome to cancel whenever you want. But I think the important thing to note there is, like I said before, they don't have everything currently in the winter season over on Crunchyroll yet. They do say that they have plans on getting 80% of their most popular titles from these other platforms onto Crunchyroll by the end of March. Now, I will note the wording there, 80% of their most popular title. This is not 80% of their catalog. This is going to be, they took like a segment of their most viewed things and they took 80% of that over. So there's a lot of things that aren't going to be popping up quite yet. And I think until you see all of your shoes, what I would kind of recommend is, what I'm going to be doing is, as you're kind of watching what pops up on Crunchyroll, move your queue over, and then when you don't see anything in your queue anymore on Funimation, drop that sub, or just drop it all together to begin with. It's your choice. But like I said, those are double dipping, kind of like me. I think I'll probably wait until spring, and then, yeah, that sub is gone real quick. Additionally, on that Funimation fact, they talk about digital copies, queues, and watch lists that are currently on Funimation. What happens to those? This doesn't shock me, but yes, they have noted that they aren't going to be able to transfer those quite yet, but they're working on it. I kind of foresee digital copies, queues, and watch history being one of those things where they kind of hope everybody just forgets about it. Like, you'll use Crunchyroll for like a couple of years, and they're like, yeah, we're working on that whole transferring the queues and digital copies thing. And it never happens. I think it needs to happen because people that bought there need to have that moved over. But I think what's going to really happen is they're probably just going to keep a server on Funimation.com that's just going to have what they did digital copies of, and just let people keep continuing to pull from there. Because I don't see that being something that will end up moving over to the Crunchyroll brand. I don't foresee future releases that are Crunchyroll branded that will have digital copy on there. I just think that's a thing they're probably going to get rid of altogether, which is unfortunate. But I see that being one of those things where they already have this whole download process on Crunchyroll, that I don't think that's necessarily something they want to keep in their system. Either way, if they do decide to do that, again, I'll let them handle how that's going to figure out, how you're going to figure out what you own and how you attach that to your new Crunchyroll account. Because they're not moving your account. If you have a Funimation account, they're not going to take your account and move it to Crunchyroll. You have to create a new account on Crunchyroll. They're not tied anyway. I don't see history and queue and all that stuff moving. I think that's something, again, they're going to hope that people just forget about. That's pretty much all the information I've been able to pull together from both the announcement and the fact site on Funimation. As I said before, this is something that was kind of foreseeable. We kind of knew this was going to happen, that eventually they were going to merge their brands. Now, the other prediction was that they were going to make like a Sony brand and just have everything come under that, which that was my fear, because I didn't want like some generic Sony brand with a tons of other stuff. I wanted to keep a anime-only app, because I think that's important. I like the idea that I don't have to. Let's all remember the days of Amazon Prime doing Anime Strike, where you had to just kind of dig through tons of garbage just to find where the anime was at. It was so hard to find. It just got lost in it. This is a good thing to keep it under an anime-specific branding. And that's a fantastic bit of news there. Again, it's fantastic that we have this merger already happening, because having two subs was terrible. Now, again, I want to soften the blow to people. Expect that this will not remain this way for a while. We get a bonus. We get a bonus that we get to have one sub, but do not forget, this is something that will probably go up in price over time, because they essentially are coming one brand, and there's still two different companies still there. Now, the hope there is that they're just going to end up downsizing. That way it makes it easier. Or the assumption is that we just have too little in Funimation's catalog versus Crunchyroll's, so they feel it's kind of a benefit to them anyways. Now, getting into negatives, obviously we're going to have more traffic coming to Crunchyroll. And as Andrew has experienced here recently, I hope that means they're going to bump their servers up. I highly doubt it because you always work with your minimums. I'm kind of fearing right now, based on my experience this last week with Ranking of Kings. I've experienced it with the release of any show. The amount of traffic that Crunchyroll is able to essentially handle is not good. And now they're going to get a lot more people hitting their servers. Now, granted, a lot of things, such as other countries that just have Funimation, they're just going to be rebranded to Crunchyroll. They're probably going to still be the same servers and the same site. But at least for Crunchyroll specifically, for areas that have Crunchyroll already, the server loads, I think, are going to be a concern going forward. And with them using services like Cloudflare, you have to be very careful about how you push that server to let you in, because you will get banned like I did, so temporary. Additionally, the other concern is apps. A lot of people do prefer the Funimation app over the Crunchyroll app. All I can really say is that I hope that this means they will at least do some efforts into improving their app. But again, this goes back to the original argument we made when Sony bought Crunchyroll. Is this fear that now that it's all one company, and technically, yes, a monopoly, they're probably going to start laxing on the improvements they make to their app? I really hope that doesn't happen, but it's a concern there. Additionally, yes, like their website. I have my issues with their website. Now, granted, I have more issues with Funimation's queue system than Crunchyroll's, but at the same time, there's issues like, yes, that nasty play button in the middle of my player that really agitates me. But my hope is that now they're all under one umbrella, they can focus all their attention onto one service and bring that, I guess, technology and hopefully minds together to really work on it. But as we all know, with companies, this usually means a lot of people are probably gonna get laid off. I really hope that's not the case. As much crap as I give Funimation, I really do hope that the people at Funimation aren't going to see negatives from this situation. I hope we don't see layoffs happening. Obviously, you're only gonna need one licensing group in Crunchyroll. You don't really need Funimation's licensing group. Obviously, you're going to have to pull together your sub-teams, condense how many people you have in different departments. And I hope that doesn't negatively affect people. So yeah, the pros, one less sub, especially great since next season we have the addition of Disney Plus for those that like to cover all the anime. So now that we have Disney Plus, we're getting rid of Funimation. For those that are exclusively on Crunchyroll, we're getting dubs. That's a great thing. It's all under one roof. It's less kind of running around and trying to find stuff. But yeah, the negatives is an increase of payload onto the Crunchyroll sites. I really hope that they're ready for this stuff. And I really hope that a lot of stuff that people have already bought on Funimation continue to be accessible. Or again, however the hell they could figure out how to transfer it over. But that's the news. Let me know down in the comments. I'm definitely interested to hear from you guys. What do you think of this whole thing? Are you in an area that only has Funimation? Are you looking forward to having all that stuff being rebranded to Crunchyroll? Again, I don't necessarily think they're going to disappear. I think it's just going to be rebranded. Additionally, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon. I'll throw a tips link in the description below. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.